Hello, welcome to my channel. Today we're looking into the disappearance of Keli K. McGinnis, born April 17th, 1965, Seattle, Washington. It says she died June 28th, 1983, at the age of 18 in Kent County, Washington. It says she was a victim born in Seattle, Washington. Keli was last seen June 28, 1983, standing by the street in the area of the Three Bears Motel on South 216th Street and Pacific Highway South. Keli had two children, a boy she gave up for adoption, and a 4-month-old baby girl when she disappeared. Keli was 18 years old at the time of her disappearance. Her mother, a singer, and her father, a car salesman. Her parents divorced while she was still young. Some reports state Ridgway admitted to strangling Keli the night of June 28th, but her remains have never been found. It is also claimed that he has taken police to her dump site and admitted to moving her remains at least once. He also admitted to leaving Keli's remains at the Lake Fenwick site, yet nothing has ever been found. Keli was a murder victim of Gary Leon Ridgway, known as the Green River Killer, who was responsible for the murders of 49 women in Seattle, Washington between 1982 and 1984. This one says the last reported sighting of Keli K. McGinnis was on June 28, 1983, around 7:30 p.m. in the vicinity of Three Bears Motel in Des Moines, Washington. While Keli's remains have never been recovered, serial killer Gary Ridgway, the Green River murders, claimed responsibility for viciously snuffing out her brief life. When she vanished, Keli was an 18-year-old who ran away from home and became involved in prostitution sometime after being raped at the age of 13 by a group of young men. By 1983, she had given birth to two children with her pimp, Raphael Wilson. Her oldest child, the son, was placed up for adoption, and her 4-month-old daughter had been in a foster home after Keli was incarcerated for prostitution. She intended to retrieve her daughter after her release but went missing before the reunion. Wilson was the person who reported her missing to authorities 2 days after seeing her. Ridgway allegedly first solicited Keli in February 1983, and on that occasion, police pulled over the pair in his truck near Sunset Junior High School. Keli, who frequented used aliases, told the officer that her name was Jennifer Kaufman and they were allowed to go about their business. During Ridgway's confession, he claimed that he picked up Keli again in June, killed her, and disposed of her body near Lake Fenwick. Between Ridgway's propensity for dishonesty, and the lack of evidence to corroborate his claims about Keli, he was never formally charged in connection with her disappearance. Remember.com. This one has memorial biography. This memorial website was created to honor the memory of Keli K. McGinnis, who was last seen alive on June 28, 1983. Gary L. Ridgway, the Green River Killer, has admitted strangling Keli to death on that day. Keli has never been found. As of March 14, 2008, the Doe Network has reported that Ridgway led searchers to a small amount of bones which may be Keli's. He said he had killed her and had moved some of her bones to another location. Her case remains open for DNA comparison. Unfortunately, because Ridgway is a pathological liar, it has been impossible for investigators to get a straight answer out of him as to where he left Keli McGinnis. Ridgway told investigators that he first met her on February 23, 1983, when they were on a date. They were stopped by Seattle Port Authority police officer in Ridgway's maroon pickup truck near Sunset Junior High School, where Keli gave the officer one of her aliases, that of Jennifer Kaufman. The officer let them go and told them to move on. Ridgway told investigators that he picked up Keli again several months later and states, "I took her someplace and I killed her. I know that for sure." Ridgway has maintained that he strangled Keli in the back of his pickup truck. Investigators from the Green River Task Force are still investigating Keli's case and want to find her remains. Ridgway has stated that he left Keli's body at the Fenwick site, but nothing has been found there. Keli Kay was born on April 17, 1965, in Seattle, Washington State. Keli's biological mother was and is a talented singer, and her father was a car salesman. Keli's parents divorced when she was nearly 3 years old. Keli's mother remarried, and Keli's stepfather was a teacher making $900 per month, not a wealthy man who took care of her and her mother, as mistakenly reported in the Seattle Times. Keli's mother, a talented singer, performed at such locals as the Washington Plaza Oak Room, Camlin Hotel, Tally Ho Room at the University Towers Hotel in Seattle, and was making $2,000 per month plus tips. Keli's mother also owned restaurants in Oregon and Washington State. She is a talented businesswoman and a very hardworking, ethical woman with a great love for her daughter, whom she misses terribly each and every day. At the age of 13, Keli had a terrifying experience that forever changed her life. While babysitting, she was gang raped by a group of drunken boys against whom she was afraid to testify. Soon after this traumatic experience, Keli ran away from home for good, was on the streets working as a prostitute, and in a relationship with a pimp, Raphael Wilson, with whom she had 2 children. The first child, a boy, was given up for adoption, and the second child, a girl, was placed in foster care while Keli was serving a short jail sentence for prostitution. Keli had intended to return to pick up her 4-month-old daughter, who was born in 1983, but never was seen again after working the streets on the night of June 28, 1983, at which time she disappeared forever. She was last seen about 7:30 p.m. standing by the street in the area of the Three Bears Motel on South 216th Street and Pacific Highway South. She was wearing high heels, blue jeans, a tan short-sleeved sweater, and a long camel hair coat at the time. Keli's boyfriend, Raphael Wilson, called her mother in a panic to tell her he could not find her. Wilson, whose house has since been raided for drugs, is a heroin addict who is in prison. Keli has never been seen since Wilson called her mother, and he never made any attempt to take care of the little girl who was put up for adoption. When Keli didn't return from the street that night, Keli's mother tried many times to persuade Keli to leave prostitution, but her daughter kept saying, "How else could I make this kind of money? I am a prostitute." However, Keli had made the decision to stop working the streets. She desperately wanted to get out of prostitution and put her daughter in foster care because she wanted her to be safe. Keli intended to go back for her daughter after her last trip out. She said she was going out one more time and then was going to stop working the streets permanently and raise a family and do the right things for them. However, on this trip, she disappeared. It was highly unlike her not to keep in touch with her family or to come back for her daughter, whom she adored. Keli's mother has not heard from her since she last saw her on Mother's Day, 1981, and has never really known where her daughter is because nobody has ever been found. Detectives are still working on the case and hope to find Keli one day. Important update. The remains of Rebecca T. Marrero, another of the victims still missing, were found on December 23, 2010, right before Christmas. Rebecca is no longer missing but has been found. The others who are still missing are Keli McGinnis, Patty Osborne, and Casey Ann Lee. My deepest condolences to the Marrero family. Due to continued problems with memory.com, Rebecca's website has been moved to rebecca-marrero.last-memories.com. From literature of this topic, sexual assault survivors sometimes go into prostitution as part of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. A special thank you to Keli's mom, who provided additional photos of Keli for this website on what would have been Keli's 45th birthday, April 17, 2010. Please note this website is checked regularly to make sure all posts in the memorial candle section are appropriate. Any inappropriate post will be immediately removed from the site, and the offending poster will be banned. There is also a site up for Keli at Find a Grave. Someone else put this up for her. You can reach it by going to, and then it talks some more. It says, I'm skimming ahead. Update. Keli's mother has informed the webmaster that a memorial brick with Keli's name is on the seawall in Sitka, Alaska, because Keli has never been found. Update 2. The Three Bears Motel on Pacific Highway South in Des Moines, Washington, was closed by the city in September 2007 because of non-working smoke detectors in the room. The city also shut it down because of numerous calls for prostitution and drug use on the property. Police were called to the area many times. Keli had used this motel and disappeared from right in front of it back in 1983. Update 3. Keli's daughter is a trained chef in a restaurant, and she has met her brother. Both are doing well. If you would like to make a difference in the life of someone like Keli K. McGinnis, please see the website for childrenofthenight.org right there, which gets these girls some help and out of this dangerous lifestyle. And if you go to this website, you can find it and click there, or you can just type it in. And then it has other information. But this is a really good website. So far, this is one of my, I would think this is my favorite so far, out of all the ones that I've been across, because it has so much information, and I like the way they word things. And I don't know how many other people they have here, but it has where you can go and you can create a memorial, and you can search memorials. So I like it. You can add a video. That's really nice. Anyway, this is remembered.com, so you can see that. And then we have the Charlie Project. Maybe. And it says Keli K. McGinnis, Seattle, Washington. Born in 1965, 18 years old, 5'5", 160 pounds. A tan short sleeve sweater, a long tan camel's hair coat, blue jeans, and beige spike heels. She was very beautiful. Dark colored pickup truck accounted for. I think this one is my favorite photo. Blonde hair, blue-green eyes. Keli may spell her first name a few different ways, and her last name is spelled different by some agencies. There's a lot of aliases. She was last seen leaving the Three Bears Motel in Seattle, Washington, June 28, 1983. The motel was located at southbound Interstate 216 and Pacific Highway. McGinnis was a prostitute in the area and planned to work the area near South 216th Street that evening. She has never been heard from again. Her pimp reported her as a missing person 2 days after her initial appearance. McGinnis's parents divorced while she was a toddler, and she was raised by her mother and stepfather. She ran away from home at 13, met Wilson, and took a life of prostitution. Wilson, who is now in prison, is the father of both of her children. At first, authorities believed McGinnis might have left on her own accord. She was considered a high-class prostitute and was very successful financially, and sometimes stated that she wished to get off the streets and lead a more respectable life. She told her mother that if she ever left Seattle, she would probably never return. However, McGinnis behind left her baby daughter. McGinnis left behind her baby daughter, whom she was devoted to. She had placed the child in a foster home temporarily while she was serving a short jail sentence for prostitution, and was looking forward to picking her up. McGinnis' daughter was eventually adopted by another family. Her firstborn child, a boy, was placed for adoption shortly after his birth in 1980. And then it goes on to talk about other victims and Gary Allen Ridgway. Ooh. I don't know why I thought it was Gary Leon Ridgway. Why did I think that? I bet I've put that in places on the cover. I'm going to have to go fix that. Gary Leon Ridgway. It is Gary Leon Ridgway. Right? Why does it say Gary Allen? Anyway, so you can pause this and read it if you want to. Because I don't want to read all that. Anyway, please don't forget to stop and pray for her family and her loved ones. And thank you so much for tuning in. And have a great day. Bye-bye.